Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about something. It's a question I keep getting in the comments several times, and why Takara does not make more of these Beast Wars figures in the Masterpiece realm. So I don't have the exact answer, but I have my idea and opinion why. It's a terrible picture of this, but this is my Beast Wars display shelf. I need to completely redo it. I actually literally just threw it all on the shelf as I was moving things around for Robotech. But I am interested in it. I sort of keep up with it, but I'm actually going to tell you what I'm going to do going forward as I see little to nothing new being announced for Beast Wars from Takara. Like I said, Takara hasn't told me why they don't make more Beast Wars or announce more Beast Wars figures. But gee, I have one or two ideas we'll talk about coming up. So a little history about Beast Wars and me. I'm not a deep dive Beast Wars fan collector, but I really enjoyed the show, but I really hated the toys of the 90s. I only bought maybe 7, 10 at the most, and those are the ones that I thought were the coolest. And we'll get into that here in a bit, but I think that what the Masterpiece line is doing with Beast Wars for Takara is amazing. These are some fantastic looking figures. They look outstanding. They're quite pricey. This dude was 300 bucks. The vast majority of my collection, I waited for the KO, and I have to say that I'm glad I did, because they're decent representations for a massive fraction of the price, just like with G1 and all the other ones. But it just seemed like the Beast Wars figures were much more expensive. I think it's because they don't produce as many, or they didn't produce as many in the early days. Maybe they produce more now. Well, they're producing nothing, so I guess it's zero. The last figure they actually produced that I could find was Tigatron. I passed on him. I think they do have him up on Show Z as a KO for like 80 or 90 bucks right now. Original price on him I think was 160 or something along those lines. So really that wasn't bad for the size and scale of him, but I still haven't bit on him. I haven't gone that deep. I actually thought it was like just a repaint of Cheetor. Turns out, as you can see with the other pictures, he's a little bit bigger. We also got the Lio Convoy that year in 2020. I'm not sure which one came first, the chicken or the egg, the Lio Convoy or the Tigatron. But I do want to say they're coming out with a recolor of him. I think we are getting a recolor of him sometime in 2023 or later this year, something along those lines. But that's really the only thing they have scheduled or slated that we know of so far. And I'm glad I dropped some hints about what I was talking about Friday, which is today, yesterday, today, tomorrow. But in my comments, thanks to those of you who pointed out that we are getting a Rhinox. Well, this is still not an official release or reveal of Rhinox, and this could all just be made up, or this could still be in development. Nobody really knows what this is. It's a really fuzzy picture. A lot of times when you come out with a fuzzy picture, we get better information the next week. We never did. But this format of this fuzzy picture doesn't match the format of the other fuzzy, crazy pictures we would get for all of the other Masterpiece reveals from Takara that we've gotten in the past. So this has been informally debunked, but it may still come out. It may still be true. Who really knows? So I want to admit that I think the coolest part about Beast Wars itself is actually the Transmetals. So in my mind, I was thinking that I understand the whole organic outside to protect them from the massive level of Energon and all that kind of stuff, but raw Energon. But I always thought that they shouldn't have looked organic. They should look more like the Dinobots, and they should look more metallic. And we're going to see that in the upcoming Rise of the Beast. But Transart is a company that's making with a more metallic look, and they're doing the Transmetals, which we haven't seen any of that stuff going on from Takara. So third party actually is picking up some of the coolest stuff. Now, haven't picked up the vast majority of these, but this one looks pretty good. Also, they made a nice looking rat trap that I think is pretty slick overall. And prices aren't too bad. This rat trap is like $75, and the Primal, the BWMO2, was about $110, something like that. So not really a bad pricing structure either for the third-party ones. This one here was in the 150 range, the Optimal Optimus, which is a pretty big figure. It's a pretty good sized one. I think it was around 10 inches tall and a lot of back metallized coloring to it. So this is kind of the era of the Beast Wars I like the most. I mean, I knew this is a weird, kind of strange figure when they made it back in the day, and this one still kind of carries all that along. Transart also made some of these really cool ones, such as Transmutate, which you've just never see that kind of stuff. One episode, that thing from the episode, and it's pretty cool. I did pick this up. That was really reasonable price, $50. With Transart and all this, there's other companies making stuff like Zhangxing, the JX version of the Red Dragon, and then they call this one the Winged Dragon Beast Megatron. Now, there are other companies that have made this kind of Red Dragon Megatron, such as Perfect Effects. They have their own version, which is a bit stylized. Then Jinbao, which I don't know much about. Their Flame Devil, I think, is that maybe a legend scale. But with this one, by far, hands down, the best one made. And it looks fantastic. I have this one. Pretty expensive. It was like $260 when it came out. Sorry. But definitely worth every penny because it is fantastic looking. Okay, so third parties aside, getting back to Takara and why aren't they making these? So what got me into it, really, I wasn't going to buy any of the Masterpiece stuff because I thought it was too expensive. But before MP44 was released by Takara, I started picking up some of these Beast Wars through Amazon Japan, just testing it out because you got a $328 massive item coming, such as MP44. You kind of want to see how long it's going to take to get here. Are there any issues? How well does it ship? I want to say Amazon Japan ships very well. They actually shrink wrap your item to a piece of cardboard inside the box so it doesn't rattle around. Really smart and cheap, effective, easy way to do it. But anyway, I got this guy for like $53 shipped from Amazon Japan. And then I also got T-Tor shipped from Amazon Japan. And these were not KOs. This is predated the KO time frame in early 2018. Or if it was, I know that Amazon Japan did not show anything for KOs for anything for a while. They might have them now. I kind of quit shopping on there. But it really shocked me. This guy was $43. And so it started the wheels rolling in my mind about Beast Wars. They couldn't sell it. They couldn't sell through enough of the initial run, and Amazon Japan had to sell them, basically liquidate them out. And so one of the things is shipped from Amazon Japan. A lot of the third-party sellers on that site don't ship to the U.S. and because of the expense. So getting it directly through Amazon, sold and shipped by Amazon, was the way to get it. So I was pretty pleased that I was able to accomplish that back in the day. But that also told me in the back of my mind the demand really isn't there for Beast Wars stuff. But then I start to see the KOs come out. Now this guy originally the Dinobot was like $250 or something crazy, and then the KOs came out for under $100. And then I think they went on sale for like $60, but I missed it. I got them initially as soon as they were out because I was thinking at the price they would sell out pretty quick. And so even the KOs sold out. So there is demand. My initial thought there's not any demand is wrong, but there's maybe not enough demand for them going forward. But that's starting to be my speculation. So anyway, I did get this one for, I think, $100 or something like that, or 95 or 85 or something. But I have to say, I'm very impressed with the KOs and the Beast Wars KOs. I thought Black Arachnia was a pretty cool figure. And, you know, this is one of those things in the Masterpiece where they're not going to take Black Arachnia in the Masterpiece scale, at least. And they're not going to turn her into Tarantulas. So yeah, that's not a thing that's happening right now. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen in the future, but I really highly doubt it because she has such a feminine physique. But anyway, they've done good work on all of these up to now, but not much going on. So there are two reasons why I think that Takara is not focusing on the Beast Wars at all. Hardly at all. Barely at all. They're reusing molds if they can repaint them, but that's about it. And I haven't heard any announcements. Now, if there's announcements I missed, well, there's announcements I missed. I think they're focusing on G1 where the bread and butter is. Stuff like these Seekers where they can make them left and right, which I'm actually shocked we haven't heard about a Conehead release yet. But yeah, it's probably coming. It's probably definitely coming. Also, we've got coming up next, or is it next? This one here. So the Trailbreaker. Now, yes, there are some flaws in this Trailbreaker, and I haven't wanted to speak out negatively about this yet until I have it at hand, and then I can say all the negative I want about it. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm just not going to bash this thing till I have it in hand, even though some of the pictures make it look really weird, really strange. But they're focusing on the G1. That's where the bread and butter is, and Takara has figured that out. That's a sweet spot. And they do need to finish out, dial it out. Give us your offering of each one of these. Now, they're going to sell no matter what. There's a market over there in Japan where they don't buy third parties. So third parties are limited to the rest of the world. just not Japan, basically, because it's kind of a code that a lot of the collectors live by. They don't buy third party, they only go official. And so it's good that Takara is finishing all this out. But I'm really looking forward to this. Skyfire, Jetfire, he looks really good, and I can't wait to get him and do a lot of comparisons. I have a huge, crazy, mind-blowing video plan for this guy. And a lot of people are thinking, well, it's because they're focused on the movie figures, but no, they're not. They're making movie figures, but it's not like they've got a ton of these coming out. And in fact, I look back, I only see like 8 or 12 or something that they've made. So I don't know. I don't know how many they've made. There's not a whole lot that they've made. I mean, they're not pushing 52 or anything. So, but it still kind of feels weird. And when I start looking at their movie figures, I start looking at this and I start thinking the same thing I'm thinking about Beast Wars, actually. It's like they don't make a whole lot of them. And in my mind, from my perspective, and I'm really sitting on the sidelines here when it comes to the MPM figures, the movie ones, I appreciate them for what they are, but I don't feel like they're that much better than what they're doing with Studio Series. And it is Takara making the Studio Series. And so I sit back, and from the sidelines, I'm thinking, you could pay way less, like a sixth or a tenth of the price in some cases, it feels like, but like a sixth of the price, and buy the standard mainline and be just as good, right? Therein lies kind of what I think one of the other problems is with Takara, and Takara is making the mainline stuff. They're designing these already, and they look good enough. They look great. They look fine. Do they live up to a masterpiece quality and level and all that? Probably not, but they do work. They look great, and that's what I'm going to do going forward. My plan is to sort of flesh out whatever I don't have already with which I have all these already in the Masterpiece scale, but what I don't have in Masterpiece, I'm going to flesh out and fill in the gaps with what they're making in the mainline. But the other thing about this is that if you start looking at scale and stuff like that, in reality, shouldn't the scale actually be that the Beast Wars figures are Legend scale next to Masterpiece figures? See, Transform Element made some Legend scale figures, and if you watch the show, it matches the size and scale more accurately because, well, just face it, there was only like 2 or 3 episodes that had actual Prime and Megatron in there, and they were massively huge compared to the Beast Wars. So scale for Masterpiece really sorta doesn't make sense, and it doesn't match up to G1. But in my mind, Beast Wars and G1 are 2 different things anyway. Which, voila, we have the new era of KO oversized Beast Wars figures. So these are technically Takara designs that are oversized, KO'd, and you're getting Masterpiece scale, or at least what Takara was calling the Masterpiece scale, for $30. This guy's $30, which maybe this isn't the greatest design. There's still discussion, argument whether the 30th anniversary generations, Thrilling 30, or whatever you want to call that, Thrilling 30, is a better mold, which it probably is, but it doesn't really matter because when KOers want to KO stuff, they want to sort of KO the stuff that's pretty hot and relevant right now. So I'm wondering how many of these we're going to get. So then at $30, this thing should be relatively successful. You can fill in all of your gaps instead of spending $300 a figure, $30 a figure, and they look fine. And I really think they're doing a great job with Beast Wars mainline, and so I have backstocked every one of those for myself. But now I'm thinking, I should have waited to see what they knock off and KO oversize, because that's pretty awesome. So anyway, while Takara has their hands full trying to figure out how to make a cone head out of their G1 Seekers and giving us a Skyfire, we can go ahead and dial out the rest of our shelves with whatever we want for Beast Wars. There are options that are out there. There are great figures that have been made already, and they're making this guy again, but in the mainline. So they're shrinking down this. I'm curious how close the mainline one is to the Masterpiece in engineering and all that kind of stuff. So I probably should watch some videos on that. But what do you guys think about all of this? What do you guys think about the Beast Wars? I know if you're a super ultra G1er, you don't really care about Beast Wars, but I think the show is pretty great. It's pretty awesome. I did watch it back in the 90s, and I did buy a few of the figures back then. But I am highly impressed with not only what Takara's done with the Masterpiece line, what Takara is doing with the mainline and what we're seeing from third party, whether it's JX with the Red Dragon or it's all those other great things that we're seeing from TransArt or even the Transform Element stuff. So let me know in the comments below, like and subscribe, and Tydirium, hang around.